How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Yes, I am back here on the show today. We are live. It is Sunday. Sports Byline, Dan Patrick Radio, Sirius XM, and a lot to get into here today. We got pro wrestling news to talk about, mixed martial arts news to talk about. I think I kind of know what's going on. I've been gone for a little while, got a new child. Everything's going well. I'm exhausted. If the show's a disaster today, or really any time in probably the next 6 months, I apologize. Not getting a lot of sleep, but doing the best I can. And what an irony that the Miz and Maurice welcomed the birth of their second daughter on Friday. Our child was born on Wednesday night. Miz's child born on Friday. Big congratulations to him. Child's name is Madison Jade Mizanin. They stole my new daughter's middle name, which is also Jade. She was born 8:02 a.m. Pacific Time, September 20th, 7 pounds and 15 ounces. This is their second child. The first, Monroe Sky Mizanin, born in March 2018. Right after the first and, I guess, the first season of Miz and Mrs. wrapped up. It was a 20-episode season. So for those of you that Filthy Tom was asking, like, what episode do we stop at? I had so many people saying it was the end of the first season. You guys need to start at the beginning of the second season. There has been no second season. What happened was they had 6 episodes. They had a finale, which was episode 6, but then they ordered more episodes, which began as episode 7 and not a second season. Got all that, everybody? So anyway, that's the story on The Miz and his brand new daughter. We have notes on Raw, the arrest of Lacey Evans. I guess it wasn't an arrest. She got a speeding ticket. It was definitely not an arrest. But it's a funny story. We could talk about that here. It's got a lot of press. Brock Lesnar, New Japan, UFC, NXT. I saw the debut Wednesday show, and much, much more. And we'll kick it off after the break. Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. If you would like to call us here today, 844-411-5411 is the phone number. That is toll-free, 844-411-5411. Text messages, 425-780-7566. Got a lot of text messages here, a lot of congratulations. You do not have to text me congratulations. I appreciate it, everybody. We have to do a show, though, and so I don't want to just read congratulations for an hour. But I do appreciate it. I got so many nice messages. Really appreciate it from everybody. In fact, you can text me after the show if you want to. That way you can send your text, but we don't have to read all of these here on the air. But all is well.
Like you did the work here.
Thanks, Mike and Jim. New power couple. You're getting ready to run me off the air. Which
is that what that was?
Will be fine. I'd be fine with that for a while here. But I am back with a vengeance. And a lot of news. I have not watched everything, but I did see the NXT debut on Wednesday, and I saw the UFC main card last night. I've not seen any of the New Japan show, although I did see Liger in his face paint, running roughshod, as I guess he's not the Fiend. Finn Balor? He's doing his Finn Balor gimmick. Liger. Yeah. So we can talk about all of that. And whatever else is on your mind. I do want to mention there's like one line about this in the Daily Update, but it probably deserves more. Lacey Evans was given a speeding ticket in Alberta Saturday and recorded the exchange while in character. WWE was in Edmonton for a house show. Natalya responded on Twitter saying the member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police was her cousin. Now, it was not the Mountie. I can confirm that. A wrestling superstar is proclaiming Canada is terrible after she was handed a speeding ticket in Alberta. Lacey Evans posted a video of the incident to her Twitter account Saturday, where it has been viewed more than 236,000 times. Probably a lot more than that right now. According to Wrestling Inc. and several other websites, Evans was in character as her sassy Southern Belle persona during the exchange. That's not a citation, is it? She asked. No, it's a violation ticket for speeding, the officer replies. Evans, whose real name is Macy Estrella Cadleck, responded, "Do you know who I am?" The officer replies that he has no idea. "I'm Lacey Evans, and I do not rate this ticket," she said. "You nasty thing, I'll pay the ticket." And then she said, or I guess he, cool and composed, the officer wished her a good day and signed off with a cheery, "Welcome to Edmonton." And she ended with, "You have a terrible day, sir. Canada is terrible." So, point of this is, it was just a goofy little thing, but this, I had somebody send me like this giant list of all of these news outlets that have carried this story. This thing has gone all over the place. So I got to give her credit. Like, a lot of wrestlers get tickets. A lot of wrestlers do a lot worse than that. She got a speeding ticket, and she has parlayed she has parlayed it into quite the deal here. So congratulations to her.
She does not have a lack of confidence. She does not have a lack of presence or a sense of who she is. Yeah, she is really, her character, again, we talked about, we don't know exactly what her character is, but as far as, like, does this woman want to be a pro wrestler and be in this business and be good at what she does? Yes, she does. Now, will she, ultimately reach all of the potential that they hope that she has, and that's why she's up on the main roster so early? We will have to see. But as far as the intangibles, the quote-unquote intangibles that you look for in somebody, the drive that you look for in somebody, the want to stay in shape, the want to try to be better, she seems to have all of those intangibles. And her taking that opportunity to take a real-life situation, and maybe it was obviously beneficial that the Mountie happened to be, or whoever it was, the RCMP or whatever the hell they call it, cop happened to be Natty's cousin or whatever it was. Maybe that was fortuitous, but the fact that she did it, they uploaded it, and it has taken off the way that it has is, again, it's a feather in her cap. The people like that, the MJFs, sometimes it can be very cringeworthy when it fails miserably, but here was an example of that. Took a chance and it paid off really in spades.
Who do you think the first caller is since the birth of my second child? You're on the air, caller. What's going on?
Bryan, it happens to be Tony in Philadelphia.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Congratulations.
Wow.
Completely lost that.
Yeah,
one.
Congratulations. It wasn't Ryan. What's going on?
And Mike, real quick, welcome to the 1 and 2 Club, by the way. Vegas did not treat me well this weekend.
That's I know that feeling. Neither Vegas or the real thing did, but
it is what it is. But hey, speaking of Hanas, it's become my gimmick more or less. But Hana Kimura, the winner of the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix, beating her partner Konami, and what was a great jousting.
What an irony!
Hana Kimura, by
That's
the way,
because Hana Le was born.
That's why she won. By the way, Hana Kimura, a much more compelling and entertaining character than Jay White, Mike Sempervive.
Stop it.
Oh, come on. Jay White's great.
I like
your
White.
IWGP Intercontinental Champion right there. Respect him. He may be going to the Tokyo Dome.
Not doing much. Yoshinori Ogawa's not doing much anymore. Can Jay White be the new Rat Boy? Because that's what he looks like with that facial hair. But my main point was about Kenny Omega, and I have friends who are smart, and I have casual friends who are fans, and I polled both of them, and the consensus was negative from both sides. My friends were casual fans, more or less, asked who is Kenny Omega, who is AEW, and what are they thinking, trying to stake their claim in this wrestling war without even getting their feet on the ground. And the non-casual, the smart fans, are saying that it's a misstep because Kenny knows that these are his friends, his peers, and people he's worked with before. Kayfabe or not, there's going to be people naturally who are going to look at this and see what he's saying and not tune in because of that. And especially the casual fans, if they see Kenny Omega, drawing his line in the sand, I've seen it. I know my friends who are casual who are actually saying they're not going to watch AEW because they don't like his attitude towards it.
Wait, because Kenny Omega is a douche, you're not going to watch Private Party, or you're not going to watch Chris Jericho, or you're not going to watch somebody else.
Hey,
I understand a little of that vibe, but when push comes to shove...
Who's going here? I'm staying out of this. I can go.
Listen, I'm watching. I'm saying it from the perspective of other fans who may not know who Kenny Omega is, who may not know what AEW is all about. If they hear this from him and they are WWE loyalists, and as Bryan, as you know,
they're WWE loyalists are not going to watch AEW anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, first off, I don't know how many fans are not going to watch AEW because Kenny Omega said something mean. But I mean, is that where we are in 2019? Like, if somebody says something that's not nice, we're not going to watch the program. I mean, dude, there wouldn't have been a Monday Night Wars if people weren't going to watch one side or the other because somebody didn't say something nice. Listen, Kenny Omega, you really think that Kenny Omega really thinks that way about the top stars in NXT? I mean, come on. I don't know what the end game is here. I mean, this could be...
This is the end game we're talking about.
Well, we are talking about it. There's a lot of ways to talk about AEW, but I think there's two things here. One, for those people that really don't like WWE, he's saying something that they can rally behind. And for those people that do like WWE but are willing to watch AEW, I think that he's turning heel. I think he's saying things that are designed to get people to not like him because he's going to be a heel. That's what I think is happening right here.
Let me tell you something. Those WWE loyalists, they can keep Seth Rollins. Dave, everybody, you guys keep Kenny Omega. Me, I'm staying with Jay White. I'm banking Jay White. Jay White, that's the guy of those three. I'm taking Jay White. Know why? Because he hasn't said anything stupid this week. There you go. Jay White, honestly, New Japan.
I need to know if that's like a thing in 2019.
What,
like wrestlers saying something negative about a wrestler in another promotion, whether real or fake, is like, this is really offensive to people. I mean, there's so many offensive things he could have said. I don't know. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Person here says, happy to report NXT's debut on national television was a successful one. Triple H truly put his best foot forward. It felt just like our good old NXT, just a little longer in length now. Much Hype Live debut, 1.179 million viewers on Wednesday night. My prediction had been between 800 and 1.2 million for both of the shows. And NXT on the high end of that, 1.2 million. We'll see where AEW falls. They've got a lot of promotion. But they do not have a Monday night show pushing a Wednesday night show. So I have literally no idea how it's going to do. I still believe it will do between 800 and 1.2 million. I think the predictions of 400,000 are just outlandish. I just can't even fathom it being that low. Could it do 1.2? Yes. Could it do 1.5? Yes. Do I think it's going to do 2? No. Do I think it's going to beat Raw? Absolutely not. But some people do. I will say, I don't want to harp on this, but I watched the show. I really liked the show. That was a very good wrestling show. I cannot get past Running in Full Sail. Now, Dave has spoken on Observer Radio many times about how back in the day, if you ran the non-major building in the market, it could be seen, he said, by fans as a negative. So, like, WWE ran the big building. If you ran a building that wasn't the big name brand building in town, that was like a negative. Now, I don't think that makes a bit of difference nowadays. I could be wrong. We'll find out. I mean, AEW has run numerous sized buildings for television. They've sold out like the first 6 weeks or whatever. So clearly it hasn't mattered so far for them. But with that said, I watched that show, and as much as I like that show, dude, they're in a little tiny building with like 350 people there. Like, they make it up to look really cool, but like there's no getting around it. There's nobody there. And one of the main reasons that companies have had so much trouble encroaching on WWE is because WWE is the main event league. They run in the big buildings with lots of people there, and the bright lights, and the crowd shots, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, Impact running in the Impact Zone, it's 900 people. We're talking, this ain't even close to the Impact Zone. So, 900, not even 900, 350, 400 people in the building. in not this coming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, if you watch AEW, you're going to see 10,000 people packed into that building, going crazy for AEW. I just can't imagine them staying there. I guess they have to for a while because the way that they've got production set up and the usage of the trucks and tickets sold and everything like that. But there's no way starting in January, February that they aren't going on the road. It just isn't. It's impossible to me. But we'll see. I didn't think they were going to last 3 weeks in Full Sail before they moved out, but looks like they're going to hold steady for a while. Well, we'll see what happens. It's all I could get out of that show. I mean, I love the show, but there's nobody there.
Well, I got more out of it than that, but maybe this is just almost something as simple as we'll do this as we figure out production-wise, as we figure out set-wise, as we figure out logistics-wise, all that sort of good stuff. How we can tackle this going in to the first quarter of next year with WrestleMania and all that other stuff on their plate. Maybe it's as simple as that because I'm with you. I just can't see them doing it, and it's got nothing even really to do with Full Sail. It is aesthetics, and one of the reasons why is they can draw more than 400 people, obviously, on the road when they go ahead and take NXT on the road, and you can run buildings the size that AEW is going to run, and maybe smaller, maybe a little bit bigger. But, the idea to the fan at home that they care about where they're running. Look, if WWE if I said they're going to run Baltimore and they're running UMBC, and people probably say, well, it's Maryland, Baltimore City. No, it's actually Catonsville. It's where Ring of Honor runs. But how would you know that if you have a building with 6,000, 7,000 people in it and the aesthetics are good, the lights are good, the camera works good, all that sort of stuff? It's nobody knows. Nobody cares. When they say they're running St. Louis, who the hell runs? Where is it? Look, WrestleMania every year in New York or whatever it is. They're not running New York. They're running New Jersey. It's like none of that stuff really matters to the person at home. The aesthetics will. And
matters to me because I'll never go back to that market again after that disaster.
Well, that's, if regardless. But, that type of stuff really doesn't matter. And the fact that they can put on such a good show as they've shown with NXT a zillion times over, and the fact that they can put far more than 400 people in, maybe this is just a holding pattern because I can't see them doing it when, as you say, AEW is going to be out there week after week with good aesthetics. I mean, they've shown, look, we got to see what the TV show is going to be, but at least how that thing has been filmed and how they made that one amphitheater look, it's like, I'm bullish on a little about what they do and how their setup is. So their 7,000 or 5,000 or even 4,000 is always going to trump that 400. Absolutely. I'm not as negative as you are on it, or some people are on it, but I do understand where you're coming from, especially because, the Vibe, trying to keep up that energy for that crowd week after week after week. Again, it's not easy. And I know people, Arena Mexico ran the same place forever or whatever back in the territorial days, but different time right now. That NXT crowd has always been good at playing ball, but that's a lot to ask for them over and over and over again.
Let me make something clear, by the way. If they weren't running head-to-head with AEW, dude, they can run Full Sail for the rest of their lives. I don't care. I'm merely pointing this out because this is a war. You know why NXT is on Wednesday nights on USA? It's not some wacky coincidence. WWE chose to go head-to-head and get into a war with AEW. So, I've been following Vince for decades. And it's so un-Vince. I just don't buy that there's any sort of permanence to this. It's just impossible. You don't do a wrestling war and run your show in a 300-seat building when you know they're doing 10,000 people every Wednesday night. Vince does not do that, but he is. So my question is, how long is he going to do this before he flips his lid? Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, this is Paul in Barboursville, and Bryan, congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you.
I just wanted to talk about the big angle at Destruction the other night where Jushin Thunder Liger tore off his mask.
Yes, he did.
And revealed his evil alter ego, Kishin Liger. And he went crazy, and he tried to kill Minoru Suzuki with a spike.
He tried to kill him with a spike.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, not literally, but I think Kishin Liger should go on a big rampage and just absolutely destroy Minoru Suzuki on the next show. And he shouldn't go back for a while. He should just be running amok as this evil, unmasked alter ego. And one of the baby faces, maybe Will Ospreay, could be following him around with the mask and be like, "This isn't you, Jushin. You're still a good guy. You're in there. Come back to us." And try and shake him out of this. And you could even have the blow-off be at the Tokyo Dome. And, you know, the end of the feud be Liger finally putting his mask back on one last time.
Sounds like you've been watching some Chikara.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a little behind on this season. But, you know, it feels like, you know, as a longtime comic book reader, this seems like a natural story.
My question is, does Kishin have to retire?
Ooh, that's a good question, because Jushin did say he was retiring, but Kishin didn't say anything about it officially.
Oh, man. Maybe they'll do... Maybe Suzuki beats Kishin the first night, and then Liger returns the second night and gets his revenge.
Ooh, that's another good one.
Hopefully that's not the plan, but
yeah.
Thought I'd bring it up. All right, anything else?
Well, I found a pretty interesting little podcast that you can listen to. There's this podcast called Business Wars, which talks about famous rivalries in the business world. And they are actually doing a WCW versus WWF Monday Night War series.
Really?
It's fairly informative. Yeah, it is not as good as your book, Bryan. But and they do seem to go over some things a little too fast. But while I very much like it, one of the problems is, one of the gimmicks they have on the show is they have the hosts do reenactments of various parties involved in the business deals. And the problem is, these people, I think they've never heard Hulk Hogan or Vince McMahon talk before.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like they're doing dialogue that is clearly written for Hulk Hogan, brother, and it's like they're not even trying to do the impression at all. And I'm not sure whether that's more distracting or if it'd be more distracting if you had a terrible Hulk Hogan or Vince McMahon or Ric Flair impression.
Wait a second. So is Hulk Hogan like speaking in like a Katharine Hepburn like Middle Atlantic accent, or like how is this working?
No, it's like just sort of a flat Southern accent.
Southern accent?
It's just generic.
I'm going to have to check this out. Thanks so much for the call. Hulk Hogan with a Southern accent.
What you gonna do, brother, from Tampa?
What's he going to do, brother?
You know what I don't like? We know, Hulk. We know.
Expert says, when Raw started against WCW, the Grand Ballroom was also small and made it feel intimate and special. Could you argue the same for NXT? How long did they stay in that ballroom? Back in a moment, Observer Live. Hi on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Couple of things here. If you're in the Seattle area, my first book signing for 100 Things WWE Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die will be Saturday, October 12th at the Barnes & Noble in Northgate, just outside of Seattle. 2 o'clock p.m. is when I shall be signing. That's 2 o'clock p.m. Saturday, October 12th. You can grab 100 Things WWE Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die, my new book, available on Amazon.com, booksellers everywhere. Head up there and check it out. 100 Things WWE Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die. Book signing, Saturday, October 12th, Barnes & Noble, Northgate, just outside of Seattle at 2 o'clock p.m., so check it out. A couple of news notes here. 6-man tag added to the lineup for this week's NXT. It will be Walter challenging Kushida and 2 partners to face Imperium in a 6-man tag this coming Wednesday. So that's signed for NXT, which, by the way, I could tell you there's about a 99% chance of that happening. However, for Raw, there's about a 60% chance of this one happening. Fatal 5-Way number 1 contenders match. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, Robert Roode will face off in a number 1 contenders match. The winner will challenge for Seth Rollins' Universal title on what is being billed as Raw's season premiere next week, September 30th. This, of course, is in advance of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, October 6th. So whoever challenges is probably getting laid out by The Fiend. So I guess my guess would be Rey Mysterio. Suppose we'll find out.
Naturally.
Who do you think it'll be? AJ, Shinsuke, Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, or Robert Roode?
Well, Rey Mysterio. It's got to be. Just so he can get laid out by The Fiend, because we can, put another old person on the wall for Bray Wyatt to show off of why he definitely deserves this title shot. It's amazing. We've gotten to the point, and I understand this is WWE, but why is Bray Wyatt getting this title shot? Because he attacks old people and lays them out at the end of shows, and he's got a really cool mask at a time where nothing else is working for them. I'll be damned. We'll see what happens. He's going to win this title. At least I hope he does. And what they have planned for him after that, we'll see. But this will be very, very interesting on how they play this character and how they set up his matches and his title defenses. He may actually have more skits by the end of the year than actual matches wrestled, and there will be people that will be hailing him as WWE Star of the Year.
Also announced in the 60% category, a new Firefly Funhouse. That's pretty much guaranteed.
There you go.
Sasha Banks versus Nikki, and there is a rematch, Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable. Wonder if Chad's going to get a big win.
Think so?
I doubt it. But you never know.
Look, I hope he stays on Raw, and I don't know what's going to happen with this draft and everything, but, can I see him, Baron Corbin with the King gimmick does serve him better than it would a Chad Gable. With that said, Baron Corbin doesn't need it either, but Baron Corbin winning that goofy honor and Chad Gable ultimately defeating him in a feud, even if it doesn't move on to anything, I guess I'll be satisfied with that. And I think the prospects of having Chad Gable aligned near Paul Heyman serve him better than anywhere else he could possibly be, unless it was down in an NXT or something like that, because 205 Live ain't it. And again, I don't know, he's going to get lost in the mix. He's already been lost in the mix on SmackDown, so not to say Raw's going to be any better, but hopefully with a little bit of help, the Street Profits seem to be Paul Heyman guys. Obviously, this Mike Bennett angle is all Paul Heyman, so that's a miss for him, seemingly. But, with some of the other hopes that people have for people that have been aligned with Paul Heyman, Cedric Alexander's another one, because a lot of people have been... they've been angry with what you and Dave had said about, Vince McMahon and his history with guys. I don't know why people think Cedric Alexander is going to be much better off, even if he does win the U.S. title from AJ Styles at some points. And people seem to be really up in arms over that. But he's been another guy that's been aligned with Paul Heyman that at least has been getting some time. He ain't
winning the U.S. title from AJ Styles. Come on, people.
But I say, even if he does,
seriously,
it's like... That's the thing about that was I have more hope with Heyman with these guys.
He's working with Mojo Rawley at the house shows.
But that's the thing, is even if he does go ahead and wins the title, what does that mean? What does that matter? It's how you're perceived and how things go about. And ultimately, he might get the win over AJ, but I don't know. Again, they got to do. I want to see where this goes, because they seemed like they were doing something with him, and he suffered so badly last Sunday and Monday night. We'll see. But
people actually think that they beat him and beat him up in an angle, and beat him the next night, and beat him up in an angle as a way to set up him winning the U.S. title?
They really think that the redemption of him winning, which he ultimately may down the line over AJ Styles, will be enough. And it's like, what history, especially recently, that they have given you gives you the good feelings about that?
Let me explain something to all of you.
It doesn't make any sense.
If they give this guy the U.S. title, it does not redeem Cedric. It buries the U.S. title. That's what they've done to this guy. I have nothing against Cedric Alexander. I think he's great. But, how do you not see what they did on Sunday and Monday? Vince is done with the guy. And so that's it. They ended that thing. They even wrote a story after Sunday. Oh, he's going to get another chance. Yeah, he got another chance on Monday, and they beat him again and beat him up afterwards. It's done. The Cedric experiment is over. If they end up giving him the U.S. title, it's like giving the world title to Jinder. That's what they've done here. Now, maybe they can build him up again somewhere down the road. Vince does do that sometimes. He gives up on people, and then he decides he's going to try again later on. But, I mean, for now, quit trying to make up these fantasy scenarios to try to explain away the fact that he gave up on the guy. That's what happened. Period.
And like all these guys, too, I've said it, this isn't the back in the day where this is like an 8-month drawn-out thing where Cedric slowly, he got to get killed, and slowly crawls his way back. It's not how it works. And they're not beating guys in the meantime. We're not seeing him beat other people. We're not seeing him try to do it. All we see is him get beat up. All we see is Ali oftentimes get beat up, or Buddy Murphy get beat up, or Ricochet. Well, Ricochet's in a little bit of a better shape, but those types of guys, it's like, again, you can keep beating them. Oh, we gave him a title. We gave him a win. So what? It doesn't matter after you've beaten the guy to death a zillion times over.
AJ's moving on, everybody. He's in the 5-way tomorrow. Like, there's zero mention of Cedric Alexander in the preview for Raw. Nothing. No mention of him.
Besides, do you want Cedric in the way when you have to push the original club with the debut of AEW starting up? Then you have to continue to beat the original club into the ground with the... Although I'll say this, I was always a fan of the graphics that they would show, that they would sell the shirts with, that you'd see in the opening of Saturday night's main event, or when they do promos, localized promos, and you have the Andre handprint or the Jake the Snake Roberts logo with the snake and everything. I do like how they're bringing that back for certain acts. I wish they do that for more people. They're just killing it with the club over and over again.
The Rock gets what The Rock wants. That's what UFC President Dana White said to TMZ, confirming the former WWE and movie megastar Dwayne Johnson will indeed present the winner of Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal with the newly created BMF belt. The baddest mother. It will be a one-off promotional tool and not, it says, an official championship to be defended. That's too bad, actually, because
it has more credibility than most of their titles.
It's the most over belt they've got right now. And White told TMZ this belt will cost $50,000 to create, which is $20,900 more than the AEW title, which got stolen. Johnson will present it to the winner. He's a longtime fan of the sport, has been cage side at events before.
Yeah, it's a big piece of jewelry, $50,000 bonus for winning. You get that old diamond encrusted, some gold or whatever the hell they put on the thing. But it's nice to see, because it is the BMF title. We know it won't be Dwayne presenting this title. We're going to get The Rock.
Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on?
I have a question about the baby of Maria. Do you think it's going to be a returning star, and do you see Vince getting involved?
You have a question? Wait. You have a question about the baby and Maria?
Yeah, because you just gave
Whose
birth.
baby?
Oh, Maria's baby.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say the question about Maria's baby? There's all these babies being born. So what's your question?
Well, is it going to be a returning star, do you think? Or you think Vince is going to get involved somehow in this storyline?
I have no idea. You think I've given this 2 seconds of thought?
Yes, I do, because you just became a father, and I think this should probably be on your mind.
Yeah, Brian's
Who's the father?
Who the father
Trust
his baby
me,
is
that's
too.
not on my mind. Who do you think the father is, Ryan?
Vinny. Oh, wait, the other one. Sorry.
Maybe Eugene.
Eugene.
Well, they need a returning star, and Bischoff's back, and that's his nephew, so there's a tie-in.
That's his nephew. Huh. Why wouldn't Garrett be the father? Garrett Bischoff.
Because Garrett didn't draw big ratings like Eugene did.
I see. Huh. I hadn't thought about that, Ryan, but thanks so much for the call. I really appreciate that. Well thought out call that made this show better. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
You all right over there?
Doing today?
What's going on?
I'm sorry. I was listening to the most asinine thing I've heard all day, and that was Ryan in the compliment. All right,
The Cumberland.
All right, congratulations.
The Cumberland.
Well, who cares?
All right, what's going on, dude?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, first of all. Second of all, I want to say this. I'm going to agree with you for once. You have said the most smartest thing today. And that's a rarity for you, Bryan.
All right, what did I say?
Well, I agree with you on NXT. I do not agree. I don't agree with you. I agree with you that I like the show. The show was, match-wise, was good, but it just looked like a small studio wrestling show that was on the big that you can see on a streaming service. It did not look like it belonged on USA. And before people say, "How can I say something stupid like that?" Think of it like this: when you was doing your podcast, and you're still doing that, but when you was doing your podcast, it looked like normal. When you got on a national rated radio show, you had to change your things and do certain things. That's the way that I agree with you on this.
Did?
I give you till the middle of December when he gonna realize he's getting his butt whooped. His show looks like an amateur hour. He's gonna try his best to put it in 5 to 6, 10,000 seat arenas, and it's not gonna look good as it does right now. That's my problem with that, and that's why I think this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know if it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but I mean, it's just very surprising to me. It's such a non-Vince McMahon thing to do, to run in a small building in the middle of a war. It's just like, I don't know. I have nothing, like, the Full Sail crowd hasn't been great, but like I said, if there was no war, then you can run Full Sail to your heart's desire. It's the WWE developmentals, your third brand, who cares? What difference does it make? But going to war against AEW, a war, by the way, that he started, and he's going to run in this little tiny building, like, and listen, it's very possible that NXT beats AEW pretty regularly, because they do have Monday nights to push Wednesday, and AEW does not have that. Okay? But just because they beat them early doesn't mean that they're going to continue beating them. When people find out about AEW, if it looks bigger and more main event, they may choose to watch that show on Wednesdays. We'll find out. Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Person says, I'm pretty sure WWE has to be contracted with Full Sail to do a certain amount of TV episodes a year. Well, they may be, but they're going to profit like $300 million in the next couple of years. So you buy your way out of that contract.
Yeah, there's never been a contract the lawyer hasn't been able to bust through, so... Yeah,
why
absolutely.
would WWE want NXT to tour? Everything is free. Interns work the show. They also don't pay for the arena. I'm surprised they didn't up the ticket prices. Dude, they started a war. That's why. Yeah. This isn't about... Trust me. This is not about NXT making money. This is about them stopping AEW from gaining any momentum whatsoever. So it doesn't matter if they have to buy their way out of the contract, if they have to rent out arenas, if they have to lose money on the brand. The goal here is to prevent AEW from gaining a foothold. So all of this stuff is irrelevant to Vince. That's Vince's goal. These people must be stopped. We must not let them gain a foothold. This is a war. Now, we'll see.
Man,
we'll see.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire. He's got a lot of wars on a lot of different fronts. The theaters of Vince McMahon, as we also have in the beginning of next year, with all of this other stuff going on, with Royal Rumble, with WrestleMania, with NXT expanding, and this war taking place with AEW. We'll know where we stand by that point. We still got the XFL that he's going to want to have hands on, too. So, it's crazy. This is absolutely nuts. 70-something years old. He's crazy.
All right, time, everybody. I want to thank Mike, as always, callers and listeners, everybody in the studio. Talk to you again next time. Wrestling Observer Live.